Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today, Arushi gave a speech about impossible. That was the title of the speech. And I would characterize my job of evaluating her as impossible. She gave an incredible speech that kept us on our toes the entire time. She spoke for that 10-minute time period, and I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. I want to break down my evaluation into three parts. Initially, I want to talk about what she excelled at. Secondly, where she can improve, and lastly, leave her with a challenge. So initially, Arushi asked me to focus on pace, and she did a great job of slowing down when she was making a point of emphasis. And she's got a lot of energy most of the time, and she's running sentence to sentence, but when she wanted to focus on a specific thing, she made sure to space out her words. And that is one thing everybody could take away. In terms of enunciation, when you speak fast, it's a lot more likely that you're not going to enunciate correctly, but that wasn't the case for Arushi today. She did both of the points that I was looking for perfectly. Some of the other things that I really appreciated about her speech was her vulnerability. She initially talked about how painful it was to feel that feeling of being impossible to work with and how it shackled her from being able to kind of move forward and be the leader she wanted to be. But towards the end of the speech, she told us about the journey of how she overcame that through the belief of Sadala and those around her, and how that feedback can really make the difference. A few more things that Arushi did amazing was the audience engagement. She asked constant questions, kept us on our toes. There was one point where she asked Shabam, and I had no idea she was about to ask a question right there. So that was a great point as well. And lastly, she finished with a conclusion. It was an 8 to 10 minute speech, and that is a lot of ground to cover. And so she wrapped it up in a great manner. Next, I'd like to move to an area where you can improve. So your speech was standing up. Obviously, my head's cut, but with this, every time you were giving gestures with your hands, sorry, I'm trying to cover the light for you guys. Every time you were giving gestures with your hands, you kind of paced back and forth just a little bit with your lower body. And I know I'm going to nitpick you as much as I can. And so if you're going to use your hand gestures, which I thought was great, everything from your hips up looked amazing. But there was a few times where you'd shift back and forth where you could see a little bit of nervous energy. Overall, though, I thought everything from the waist up was calculated. Your mom, your dad, and other points you tried to make, I received those messages. And lastly, I'd like to leave you with a challenge. When you have audience engagement with those questions, try to transition them. Try to have small things in between. So it's not just, hey, Spencer, what do you think about this? Or Shabam, what's your opinion on this? Overall, I thought it was an incredible speech, and I loved every second of it. Thank you, Arushi, and you made my evaluation impossible.